Right, let's catch you up with the race to the White House. Democratic candidate Joe Biden now leads in the electoral votes. He secured 248 college votes, whilst President Donald Trump is sitting at 241. It's been a tight contest so far, and that's had all of America and the world on the edge of their seats. The tallying of the mail-in votes has slanted the numbers in Biden's favour. And of the swing states, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio, Florida, Iowa and Wisconsin have counted over 90% of their ballots. Now, the Republicans have won Florida, Iowa, Ohio and Texas. The Democrats have won Wisconsin, New Hampshire and Arizona and lead in Michigan and Nevada. Pennsylvania, which contributes 20 electoral votes, has so far counted 64% of the total votes. The Republicans are currently leading there. All right, to get a feeling of what the situation is like unfolding and what's likely to come through, we're now joined live from Washington D.C. by correspondent Kate Fischer. Kate, you're outside the White House and barricaded out by the president with his fence that he's built. A lot of talking going on inside and wondering how this race is going to play out, and it looks as if he might be running out of a path to 270.
That's right, and that kind of dawning on him, I think, can be seen in the fact that in the past few hours, his attacks on the voting system have increased. He's talking about filing a lawsuit in the state of Michigan, asking them to stop counting votes, alleging that they did not allow his team enough access to the counting locations for them to monitor it. He's also asking for a recount of the vote in Wisconsin, where it looks like Joe Biden has narrowly won. I should add that that is quite a normal thing for a candidate to do if the final result is very close, and he is within his rights to do so. The Michigan thing is slightly different in that there is no evidence of any kind of electoral fraud having taken place. He's also taken to Twitter to attack the system as well, suggesting that postal votes that were sent in early in this election are describing them as mail-in ballot dumps. Again, there is no evidence of any of this kind of fraud, and it is perfectly legal and indeed normal for states to be counting votes after the end of polling, especially in an election like this one where turnout has broken all records.
All right, so, when we woke up this morning, it looked very different. Explain to us how things shifted so dramatically.
Yeah, that's right. This is a phenomenon that is known as a mirage, and we were warned ahead of the results coming out that this could be a feature of this election because of the way that the American people have voted. Many, many more Americans than ever before voted early. More than 100 million of them had already cast their ballots before the official election day, and that means that their votes are counted slightly differently. In most states where there is early voting or postal voting, those votes are kept and they are not allowed to be counted until election day. And in those states where that is the law, the votes that are made on polling day, so yesterday, Tuesday, those votes are counted first. So the results coming out are positive generally for the party whose voters vote in person on the day, and that is the Republicans. Republicans generally tend to like to do it in person on the day, and so we were always expecting a strong showing for Donald Trump in those first numbers that came out. As each state begins to count those postal votes, which are traditionally and anecdotally more likely to be made by Democrats, so the totals begin to shift and Joe Biden's numbers begin to creep up. And that was the concern, that Donald Trump would be buoyed by an apparent lead in many of these states and then get angry when that lead began to diminish. And that is exactly what happened. We heard in the early hours of this morning Donald Trump in the White House speaking to the American people and essentially declaring victory, even though many millions of those votes still hadn't been counted.
All right, so you're in the District of Columbia, which has gone blue. predictably. What's been the mood? Is it a bit more relief now that things are starting to trend towards blue?
Yeah, I think I was here all last night on Black Lives Matter Plaza just outside the White House, and throughout the day it was pretty a good atmosphere, peaceful. There were a lot of people here singing, dancing and so on. But as those results started to come through, showing Donald Trump making a strong showing in places like Florida, for example, which Joe Biden had really tried to win. As that happened, the atmosphere began to turn a bit less happy, if you like, and it was darker, it got colder, and more people arrived to protest. There was a march against Trump. That some people burned an American flag. There were some scuffles with police officers. There was a heavy police presence here, and there were 3 arrests made last night amongst those protesters. So nothing huge, but definitely a different atmosphere as the night wore on.
All right, so do we have any idea in terms of timelines now going forward in terms of wrapping up these results so that we can have some kind of a decision, or are we still days away? Well, we could be days away if Donald Trump continues to pursue these legal avenues. For example, the recount in Wisconsin that he's asked for may take a couple of weeks to do. If there are more lawsuits in states like Michigan, which will involve maybe potentially halting the counting while that legal bit is sorted out, then that could delay things. Joe Biden's camp, I think, will be hoping that they can get enough votes in those states that are remaining to show a strong finish there, and enough to kind of win any legal challenge that Donald Trump poses. But it could be that the results from these states potentially show Joe Biden in the lead, but that is not something that Donald Trump is prepared to accept, and thus the legal wrangling prevents there being a winner kind of announced officially for several weeks. We understand, though, I'm sure Nick Harper, who's with the Biden campaign, will be able to tell you more. We understand that Joe Biden is considering speaking to the American people today, and whether he will give more information about what he plans to do. Has there been any comment from the Republican Party? Because there must be some now thinking, you know, some of the things that Donald Trump has said in the last 24 hours, perhaps not, becoming of a president. Yeah, I think, well, initially there was silence, which is actually one thing because nobody came out to support the things that he said. There have been Republicans, high-profile Republicans, who are not in public office at the moment, people like Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, coming out to condemn what the president said, saying that is, you know, not the way American democracy works. And there have been a trickle of Republicans, office holders today, also saying that elections should be judged on all the ballots that are legitimately cast, and that, you know, you can't declare victory ahead of that happening. So I think, although there has not been a particularly loud or strong opposition to the president, there certainly has not been widespread support from the Republican ranks. All right. I mean, it's not over, but the trends, the way they're going at the moment, quiet optimism, I suppose, from the Democrats? I think that is probably the way it feels at the moment, but of course a few hours ago, last night, there was optimism from the Trump campaign. They were really buoyed by the results they were getting, doing much better in states like Florida and Ohio than they had been predicted to. And indeed, Donald Trump today tweeting that once again the pollsters had got it
completely wrong, and although it may not be completely wrong, there certainly seems to be some issues with the states of Ohio and Florida, for example, where there was never expected to be such a strong Trump victory. So yeah, I think Donald Trump is probably feeling less confident than he was this time yesterday and last night, and that is why we're hearing about all these legal pursuits that he is now considering making.
All right, Kate, we're going to leave it there for the time being. We'll catch up with Nick in a short while with the Biden camp. But from you in D.C., outside the White House, thanks for now.